They said yes to the new role, and yet they still didn't join. Welcome to the Hire Arabia podcast. Today we're talking about one of the biggest blind spots in hiring. What really happens after the offer is accepted. Let me start with a simple statement. They said yes and still didn't join. This is one of the most frustrating situations in hiring. You found the right candidate, you've gone through multiple conversations, you've aligned expectations, you make the offer, the candidate accepts, everything looks done. And then something changes, the energy shifts, responses slow down, doubts appear, or in some cases, the candidate disappears completely. And the question most companies ask is, what went wrong? But the better question is, when did it start going wrong? Because in many cases, the deal is not lost in the interview. It's lost after the offer. Let's talk about why. Most companies assume that once a candidate accepts an offer, the decision is final. But in reality, especially in competitive and fast-moving markets, that decision is still evolving. An accepted offer is not a closed deal. It's a psychological milestone, but not the final commitment. Because the candidate is still thinking, still evaluating, still comparing. And this creates a critical phase, the time between offer acceptance and start date. This phase is often underestimated, but it's where most hiring processes quietly break down. So what actually happens during this time? First, doubt. Even the most confident candidates begin to question their decision. Am I making the right choice? What am I potentially giving up? Second, external pressure, counter offers, new opportunities. Recruiters reaching out with better roles. And in today's market, this doesn't happen occasionally. It happens constantly. Third, reality kicks in. The closer the start date gets, the more real the decision becomes. That's when practical concerns surface. Relocation, family, stability, and long-term career impact. And here is the key insight. The decision is not fully made when the offer is accepted. It is finalized emotionally much later. And if that emotional alignment doesn't happen, the candidate walks away. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake companies make. They stop engaging. Once the offer is signed, communication slows down, sometimes dramatically. The assumption is the deal is done. But from the candidate's perspective, the process is still ongoing. And this is where the gap appears, because while you step back, the market doesn't. Other companies stay active, recruiters stay active, opportunities stay active. And suddenly your candidate is no longer just your candidate. They are back in the market. So what works instead? Companies that consistently secure top talent understand one thing. The hiring process doesn't end with the offer, it intensifies. They stay close, they stay present, they stay relevant. They don't just manage a process. They actively manage the relationship, because what candidates need in this phase is not more information. It's reassurance. Reassurance that they made the right decision, that the move makes sense. Reassurance that the company understands their situation. And most importantly, that they are not alone in this transition. This is especially critical in international and high-impact roles, where decisions are bigger, risks are higher, and consequences are more significant. So if you are hiring in competitive markets, ask yourself one simple question: what are you doing? After the candidate says yes, because that's where the real decision is made, don't let the gap close your talent funnel. Stay strategic. If you're hiring in competitive markets, make sure to subscribe for more insights on how hiring really works in the Middle East. And let me know in the comments, have you ever lost a candidate after they accepted your offer?